Before I head into my reasons for not drinking alcohol and my story with it, I just want to say that first and foremost, I have nothing against alcohol. I think it can, of course, be used in moderation. And I also think that for some people, it is a great way for them to lower their social anxiety a tiny bit in some social settings. And perhaps for them, that's a useful way to do that. Although I'm going to talk a bit more about that later as well. But yeah, I just want to open by saying that I don't think there's anything morally or ethically or spiritually wrong by drinking alcohol, nor is that my reasons for not doing it either. I think that in the spiritual space, we have an issue with purity. And I think that alcohol is often used as a way to say, oh, if you are drinking alcohol, you are less spiritual or you are less able at tuning into your intuition, your clairvoyance, your psychic abilities. And I just don't think that is true. My grandmother was an amazing medium, probably one of the most impressive I've ever met. Um, the husband of my spiritual teacher was an incredible medium. Again, like those two are probably the most incredible mediums I have ever met, and both of them drank alcohol. So, in that sense, I don't think that that can do anything really to hinder your ability to tune into your intuition and also to tune in to your clairvoyant, psychic, intuitive abilities. So I probably started drinking alcohol when I was like 15, 16 years old. So I was quite early with drinking. And then I drank probably until I was about like 19 years old. And by that time, I had gotten quite overweight. And the reason why I stopped drinking the first time, and this is no joke, the first time I stopped drinking the first time is because I saw it as a really easy way to cut calories. It was before I moved to London, and I decided within myself that when I moved to London and I started university here and I started going out here, I wanted to lose some weight. And that was perhaps a bit vain, but that is still true. So I cut calories through not drinking alcohol. Of course, I cut calories in many other ways too. And yeah, then I lost about, 30 kilos, 3 stones in about like 4 months, which was quite an incredible feat at the time. And so yeah, that was the first time that I stopped drinking alcohol. And then when I moved here, I did start going out and I started drinking again for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. Didn't really gain much weight because of that at the time. And then when I turned 23, I truly stopped drinking. So I was an early adopter of not really drinking alcohol. My reason for that at the time was health. It was health. And also, that was a time where I joined the psychic development group of Ines. And again, I mean, this is going to make it sound like I stopped drinking because I joined that group, but actually, it wasn't. I just stopped wanting to feel screwed when I was waking up. I also started meditating every morning and every evening. And as I was starting to meditate more in the evening, I just couldn't imagine that I would meditate in the evening and then go out drinking or meditate when I came back. So that truly also helped me to stop drinking. I think I've also overall been very lucky. I'm quite an outgoing, open person. I don't really get anxious in social settings as long as I know somebody there and it's not like an awkward networking event. Then I don't really get socially anxious. I don't really care about like what people think in terms of like I enjoy dancing and I don't need to drink alcohol to enjoy myself and enjoy dancing when I'm out. So I suppose in many ways I am quite lucky in that way. So yeah, I stopped drinking when I was 23. And then when I was about, I can't exactly remember the exact date, I started drinking again for about 6 months when I was like 26, 27, because I started dating this guy who drank alcohol and did go out quite a bit. And I just thought to myself, At the beginning of the relationship, I thought that I was going to be able to be with them and go out and not drink. And then perhaps like 5 months into the relationship, I was like, oh, whatever. I'm going to also do a bit of drinking. And then I drank for probably about 4 months. And then the relationship came to an end. That I started drinking for them perhaps was a clear red sign that I wasn't, red flag that I wasn't listening to at the time. Um, and then when that relationship came to an end, I stopped drinking again, and I haven't had alcohol ever since. And now I'm 33, turning 34. And so that means I've been alcohol free for about 7 years or something like that. And, I couldn't be more happier. It's interesting, this thing, though, with it being like a social lubricant, right? I was listening to this podcast with this dude, Professor G, I think his name is, or at least that's what the podcast is called. And he was talking about how alcohol is an important social lubricant. And there's like parts of me which kind of agrees with that. But I just think that isn't it better that we teach people, that we train them, that we instruct them on how to be outgoing, open, and reduce social anxiety through mental mind training over using a substance which can so easily lead to being abused for numbing our thoughts and feelings and sensations. It's like, I get that there's a lot of people who struggle with these things and it helps them to open up and to be more social. But I just think that it's putting a plaster on something which has a deeper problem, right? Because drinking is so ingrained into our culture, and it's perhaps also, it's one of the reasons why I'm struggling with finding a partner in many ways, because most gay men in their early 30s, late 30s, even early 40s are still drinking, and it's such an ingrained part of the culture. And I can't really be with somebody who is a big drinker. It just doesn't work for me. If somebody has like a glass of wine or I don't know, like a G&T with dinner, like occasionally, like whatever, I don't really care. But if it's something that they would be doing every weekend with their friends, it's a no-go. It's just not going to work. And it saves me a ton of money. And I just don't feel like I need it. It's like I was out with some friends, which I don't really do that often, in like going to bars and whatever. And I was there with some people who I didn't know, and there was this other woman here who's probably about my age. And I was like dancing and having fun. And she was like, wow, Tor, how can you do this when you're not drinking? And I was like, I don't know any of these people. I kind of know you, but I don't care what these people think, and I'm most likely never going to meet them again. And also, like, these people are like acquaintances, friends. Like, if they were somebody who cared how I moved or how I danced or what I was getting up to, if they were being judgmental towards that, I wouldn't want them in my life anyway. So it's a really important thing to be aware of the types of people that we spend time with, right? We are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. And so again, it's a really psychologically multifactorial complex things. But yeah, the reason why I don't drink has nothing to do with spirituality in the sense of connecting with my intuition, my clairvoyant, my mediumistic abilities. It is not because I think it's a toxin which toxifies my holy vessel. It is largely for my physical health, how I feel in my body. And also, I suppose, where it becomes more spiritual is because it would feel really weird to have a glass of wine and then meditate, or have a glass, like all the way around, like meditate and then go and have a glass of wine. That just seems weird to me. So yeah, there's no necessarily spiritual reason for it. It's a health reason. And I encourage you to experiment with it. Try and see if you can train yourself to be open and outgoing and not care what other people think without drinking alcohol. I know people in my life who have wine every day. And again, it just sort of creates this numbing experience. It doesn't really get into the root cause of why we need to numb ourselves of our modern experience. Not to say that people haven't been taking substances since forever, they have. But I just think there are healthier and better ways, like meditation, journaling, exercise, creating meaningful connections that are much deeper than having the need to take a substance to calm down our experience. So yeah, I encourage you to try to experiment with alcohol, see how it feels. And yeah, I'd love to know how you get on in the comments. Thank you so much for listening to this.